guys, my name is Tina and I am a coach here with the KEYS program, the Quality Early Education System here in Hillsborough County. And I want to talk to you a little bit about this amazing book called How Full Is Your Bucket? This is a great book for your staff, for the environment in your center or your homes, and of course for children. And so I'm going to take a little bit and read it to you and give you some snippets on how to engage your children with it. And you can go online and go to How to Fill Your Bucket on Amazon. There's other books, but this one's my favorite. And then there is a slew of clip arts and ideas to show your children to be bucket fillers in your classroom. And you have bucket filler staff too, those that go way over and beyond. So they can choose to be a bucket dipper, right? And you can ask them, is that behavior a bucket dipper behavior or a bucket filler behavior? And as you continue to read this book, they will know and have those verbiage to understand that you are dipping out of their bucket as well as filling your bucket. And you could always let them know, hey, I love what you just did with Michael. You being such a good bucket filler. So let's get into it. And of course, this is number 1, and it's for kids. And it starts off with, Felix was putting one of the last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. I want to build with you, she said. Felix scowled. Go away, you're too little. I'm big. Stay back, you'll knock it over. I can be very careful. Go play with your baby toys, Anna. And she was so sad. And thwack, she knocked his building down. Now, is that being a bucket dipper or a bucket filler? Grandpa! Grandpa shook his head. Felix, you just dipped from your sister's bucket. Like everyone else, Anna has an invisible bucket. When it's empty, she feels bad. But when it's full, she feels great. Didn't you ever notice your own bucket? Invisible bucket? Sometimes Felix couldn't quite tell when his grandfather was joking. But the next morning when Felix woke up, there it was, a small gray bucket floating above his head. Here it is. When Felix came down to have breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. I've got a meeting this morning and it's almost time to go. Anna, sit still. And there's Felix getting his cereal. Felix slipped and cocoa wheat scattered across the floor. Felix, yelled his mom, you should have used the stool to reach that. Felix could feel his bucket tip and big invisible drips spilled out. Drip, drip. Ha ha, Anna laughed as she scrunched the cereal with her shoes. Drip. Get the broom and clean that up before you miss the bus, scowled Mom. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up the cocoa wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, what do you think happened? Buster jumped up and grabbed the muffin right from his hand. Drip. Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has one just like it. Drip. Psst, Felix, psst. Watch out, shrimp. And every time he had a drip coming out of his bucket. It was still morning and Felix's bucket was almost empty. Excuse me. As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he quietly hoped they would trip and fall. That's what it felt like when you have an empty bucket. Well, Felix slumped into his seat and waited for someone else bad to happen or something else bad to happen. Miss Bumpernickel walked slowly up to his desk and handed him a paper. He could hardly bear to look at it. Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class? Felix groaned and felt a big drop land right in his bucket. The Giganotosaurus Who Wanted a Pet by me, Felix. The class grew quiet. They laughed at all the right places and oohed and all the scary parts. When Felix finally read the end, everyone clapped, and even Emily, who sat next to him and didn't usually like dinosaurs, Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be so bad after all. Team captains today are Veronica and Felix. Drop right into his bucket. Nice cow. It's a dog. Well, nice colors there, Felix. Cool laser ant. Backpack, Felix. And he kept getting all these drops in his bucket. By afternoon, Felix's bucket was nearly full. This is where I asked your children, look at all the buckets. And this one's only a little full, but we can find out what we can do to fill his bucket. At recess, when he looked around, Felix suddenly noticed, and he realized that his grandpa was right. Everyone else had a bucket too. And some were full, and some were almost full, and some was almost... He looked really sad. What can we do to make him happy? Drop. Let me help you. He got another drop. So people were just filling his bucket. Here's your baseball. Good catch. Thanks, dude. The strange thing was that for every drop he helped put in someone else's bucket, he felt another drop in his own bucket. Pages are sticking together. There you go. So, when Felix burst in the door after school, he shouted, "You were right, Grandpa. I do have a bucket, and I understand how it works." Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he scowled. But then he thought dogs might have invisible buckets too. "Your doll will be okay, Anna," said Felix. "Mom will fix her. Until then, do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks?" And so they did, and their buckets were full. The end. And look at all those buckets. And you can also go to bucketfillers.com. And again, there's all kinds of clip arts and ideas for you to instill in your classrooms as well as in your work environment with your staff, because we're all trying to be bucket fillers. Sometimes we become bucket dippers without noticing, and that is just a great theme to have in your environment. Thank you. I hope you get it and you have a good time with it.